It's Ash from Super Videos, back for another Walking Dead video. This is going to be my promo or trailer breakdown for the upcoming episode of The Walking Dead, Season 9, Episode 15, the lead up to the finale called The Calm Before. Now, this episode looks absolutely insane. Let's jump right into the breakdown. So first we have this shot of the auditorium at the kingdom, where we have King Ezekiel bringing the charter that we saw a few episodes ago in a flashback, and we have Tara there, we have Henry, Lydia, and Judith sitting on the chairs, we have Daryl, Michonne, what seems to be Cindy from Oceanside, which is interesting, and Carol, and it seems like at this point they're gonna all sign the charter that they created. King Ezekiel representing the kingdom, Tara representing the hilltop, Michonne representing Alexandria, and Cindy representing Oceanside. Now what's interesting is that this is the first time we're seeing Oceanside after the time jump, so it's going to be interesting to see what happened to them and, you know, how they explain that. But obviously she's there because of not only the fair, but because she needs to sign the charter, or whatever they call this thing that they're going to sign, which is pretty epic. Then we have here as well another shot where we have Ezekiel putting it on a table, most likely waiting for everyone to sign it. And as you can see, we have Lydia, Judith, and Henry sitting on the chairs. And then King Ezekiel, like I said, representing Kingdom, signs the part that belongs to him. I'm sure the part that says Alexandria is going to be signed by Michonne. The part that says Oceanside is going to be signed by Cindy. The part that says Hilltop is going to be signed by Tara. And maybe the part that says the Sanctuary or the Saviors, it's going to be signed by either Laura or maybe Negan. I mean, that would be a little far-fetched, but maybe Laura signs it as a way to represent all the Saviors. Now, we don't even know if there's going to be anyone from the Saviors side signing it because most of them are dead. But that's another thing I do want to put out there, that, you know, that's going to be something that we need to keep our eyes open for. Then we have a voiceover of Ezekiel saying, "I stand before you today as a start of a new tomorrow." And this is part of his speech to everyone that has shown up to be part of the fair. And this is most likely related to how they're all coming together and, you know, they have this thing together to stand by each other, which is pretty cool. And then here we have Ezekiel most likely going to shake either Michonne or Cindy's hands. And then we have this shot of the kingdom preparing for the fair. We have 2 episodes left. Can't wait for these episodes. It seems like it's going to be the most intense part of the season, and I cannot wait for these 2 episodes. The excitement levels are off the roof, and as a result, my anxiety is up there with it because of what we know is going to most likely end up happening at the fair and the aftermath of the fair based on comic material. Not going to dig into that here, but can't wait. And at the same time, I'm super nervous. Then we have this shot of Ezekiel giving his speech at the kingdom. He's standing on top of the auditorium, the balcony, of course, and he has Shiva's statue there with him, which is pretty cool. But we have Ezekiel saying, "made possible by the sacrifices of many people over the years." So this is, again, part of his speech that they've been through a lot and now they have all come together. So in a way, it's similar to the speech Rick gave at the end of All Out War after the communities came together. I think he was at the kingdom even when he gave that speech to everyone, or a speech to everyone. And I think this is supposed to mirror that scene, which is pretty cool. And then here we have a bunch of people from all different communities watching him and listening to Ezekiel's speech. Now, there's a few people here that are familiar. We've seen them before. The obvious ones are Rosita, Siddiq, Gabriel, Diane, Cal from Hilltop, Marco, I believe, another member of Hilltop, the dude in the back, he's the teen at Hilltop. Now, these are not just people that will be attending. They are also candidates for being on the chopping block. Not gonna say more on that, but they're also candidates for being on the chopping block, much like the others that are gonna be at the kingdom during the fair. From what we know in the last episode, at the end, the Whisperers did see the kingdom. They know about the kingdom. They know they brought Lydia there. And it's going to be very interesting. I'm not going to dig deeper into that because it's going to reveal some information for non-comic readers, but it's going to get bloody. I'll just say that. Then we have another part of Ezekiel's speech. He's saying we've always been bound to each other and always will be. And then we have him kissing Carol. Now, two things are red flags for me in terms of Ezekiel and him surviving this season or not. One, this promo is entirely Ezekiel and his speech, and it has Ezekiel featured numerous times. That's a red flag to me. It's a red flag that they show Ezekiel that many times and he is giving this epic speech. Not only in the episode will he give it, but we have the speech on the promo as well. Then we have Daryl and some others leaving the kingdom. Not exactly sure why, but we have Henry and Ezekiel saying goodbye to them. Now, not sure why they are leaving. They went there for the fair, not sure why they would be leaving. Again, most likely they have to leave because they have to do something. It can't just be that they're going back to their communities. They have to go back for a reason. Not exactly sure why. Ezekiel looks a little worried here, which is interesting. Henry, not sure what he's thinking, but he's in love, I think. But anyway, we have another shot of Ezekiel and Henry watching the group go. Now, most likely, this group that are leaving is going to consist of Daryl, Michonne, Yumiko, and Carol. Now, I'm not sure how Yumiko is going to be there because she wasn't with the group when they came to Kingdom. So that's another interesting thing. But maybe there's going to be a time jump of a few hours and then we're going to see them there, which is very likely because we do see a lot of characters there who were not there in the previous episode or had not gotten to the Kingdom by that time in the previous episode. So most likely we're going to see a time jump of a few hours and we're going to see a lot more people at the Kingdom. Then we have this shot, which is interesting. We have Daryl here and a group of people. I think this is the same group that left with him in the other shot. Now, I don't know whether this is Carol or not. In the other one, it did look like Carol, but not here. And I don't see Michonne or Yumiko with them. So maybe those are two separate scenes where we have them surrounded by Whisperers and caught by the Whisperers, which we will see later on in this promo. And this shot of a group of people led by Daryl leaving. So maybe those are two different instances. Now we have Ozzy here. He's the member of the Highwaymen. Now what we could be seeing is maybe Daryl left with this group to talk to Ozzy about keeping the road safe. Maybe something along those lines. And then we have this shot here, which is the one I was talking about. We have Daryl, Yumiko, Carol, and Michonne. It's at night and they're out there in the woods. Not exactly sure what this is about because, of course, like I said, it doesn't seem like those two are the same scenes. Like the group that left with Daryl doesn't seem to be the same group that is with Daryl here. So maybe those are two different instances. But in the background, we have Beta. No one else had to die. Now, there's a key word here. Had. He's not saying no one else has to die. He's saying no one else had to die. Which means maybe they already killed a bunch of people that we're going to get a reveal about in this episode, which is very interesting. But another shot we have here of Yumiko, Carol, Michonne, and Daryl. It seems like they're being followed by a bunch of Whisperers or Walkers. And then another shot of some Walkers here and another one here. Now, this Whisperer right here is a weird one. The mask he has on, definitely very weird. Like they just skinned someone from the communities. This doesn't seem like a Whisper mask. This seems like they just killed someone, skinned them, and are wearing their faces. Very odd. Now, this looks a lot like Kel to me. I could be completely wrong about this, but this looks like Kel. I'm not sure, but what do you guys think? This looks like Kel to me. Obviously, the face looks a little different because it's stretched, because the guy wearing the mask doesn't necessarily fit the face of Cal, if you know what I'm saying. So that's probably why it looks a little weird and different than Cal. But to me, this looks like Cal. But I could be wrong about this. And then another shot here of this Whisperer wearing this person. Now, it could be a Walker as well, but something about it just doesn't look right. It looks like it's not like a Walker. Because we do see here what seems to be them wearing the mask. I could be wrong, but there's also blood dripping down, which means this is a fresh kill. That's very interesting. And then this shot of Yumiko, Daryl, Carol, and Michonne. They're all kind of together, and they're killing Walkers, it seems like. And then we have this shot of them being surrounded by a bunch of walkers and whisperers. And there's a bunch of them already on the ground. Walkers that are dead. But we have Beta in the voiceover saying, "Now that deal is done." So going back to what he said before, he said no one else had to die. Now that deal is done. So at this point, someone is going to die, or someone has already died, which is very, very interesting. And then we have this shot of Beta talking to Daryl. Now this is the exact same scene where he's actually saying that no one else had to die. Now that deal is done. So these two are connected. And then we have this shot of Daryl, Michonne, and Carol, and they're talking to Alpha, who has her shotgun pointed at them. Now, they are obviously captured by the Whisperers. What are the Whisperers going to do to them? Not sure. But I will dig more into that in my prediction video. But obviously we have Michonne here, we have Daryl here, and we have Carol there as well. I am very interested to see a bit more interaction between Daryl and Alpha, but also Michonne and Alpha, and Carol and Alpha. That'll be very, very interesting. But as Daryl is leaving, he watches Carol or looks at Carol. Very, very interesting. I don't think they're going to kill Daryl off, but that's very interesting. They might be doing a remixed version of the comic story where we had Alpha taking Rick, who is alive in the comics at this point, and is currently alive as well, where Alpha took Rick and showed Rick something as a warning. She showed him, Rick in the comics, about what she has at her disposal, her weapon in a way. I think they're doing something similar where Alpha is going to do the same thing but with Daryl, not with Rick. I might be wrong about that, but I think that's probably what's happening. And that's the end of the promo or the trailer. This trailer looks super epic. I cannot wait for the next 2 episodes. I am super nervous, like I said, but I'm super excited for the episodes and to see what's going to happen. For non-comic readers, the fair is very, very important. Not just because of what it represents, but because of the aftermath and what it potentially is going to set up. That's basically it for this breakdown video, but make sure to pike the like button if you enjoyed what you saw. See what I did there? See you next time for another super video. If you like what you see, press like, subscribe for more content, and press the bell button to receive notifications for daily uploads.